This video will showcase different style rules that can be used to format how text looks on a web page. We have a sample web page set up here and a variety of different content on the page. We have content directly in the body, shown here, content inside of a div, content inside of an H3 element, which is nested inside of a div, and content in one div that is nested inside of another div. We're going to apply style rules one by one and see how the text on the page changes. First, we'll create a style for the body and use the rule text align center. Text align has three different possible values: text align left, right, or center. This will align all text and all elements to the center of the page. As we can see, all of our text now is aligned to the center of the page. Next, we will apply the style font weight bold. Font weight bold will make all text in the body bold by default. And we see that all of our text on our page now becomes bold. Next, we'll create a new style rule for all divs and make the font style italic. This will make all font of any element or any content inside of a div italic by default. And we see here that any text that's inside of a div becomes italic by default. This includes the text that's just inside of a div, the H3 that's nested inside of a div, and the div that's nested inside of the div. Now we're going to create another style rule for the heading 3 tag and give it the style rule text decoration underline. This will make any text that's inside of an H3 element underlined by default. Reloading the page, we see that now our text on line 29 inside of our H3 becomes underlined on our page. Another style rule that we can write is font weight normal. We saw on line 10 that by default all of the text inside the body is given a font weight of bold. We can override that style by putting font weight normal for our H3 tag. Reloading the page will show us that now the text inside of the H3 will have a normal font weight instead of being bolded. And as we see, now the text inside of our H3 element is the only text on the page that is not bolded. Now we create a nested style for a div container that's inside of a div. By default, any nested div will have display inline block, a background color of yellow with purple text, and a width and height of 200 pixels. Applying this style shows us that now our div is styled correctly. Now let's go ahead and change the look of the text inside of this box. First, we'll put the rule text align right to make all of the text align to the right. Next, we'll increase the font size to 2 EM. The default font size is 1 EM. And we see that our font size gets a lot bigger after we do this. And finally, we will change our font family to Arial for any div that's nested inside of another div. And we see that now our font changes to Arial. Note that there are other styles and other values for these style rules that can be used on a page. These are just examples of the most common ones that we use when writing HTML.